Welcome back to the kick-off, fresh off the back of Newcastle's 4-1 destruction of Manchester United. I am joined by KG, Craig, and Josh. KG, how you're feeling all right, mate? Are you okay?
No, I'm not good. I'm not good at all, actually. I'm gutted. I saw your message and I thought it's coming soon. It's almost, this was almost expected, but it's deeper than this hurts. This hurts because Newcastle are better than Man United. Like, we can officially say Newcastle are better than Man United and heading in a better direction than Man United.
And that's the difference maker, isn't it, mate? Like, in all of the previous wins, like, you know, we had that season where we were quite competitive. We're both in the cup final, both going for Champions League. And since that moment, you know, much like, you know, Fast and the Furious, we're going in different directions, yeah, mate. And I'm in the good car just waving you. Bye. and the reason I know that is because of how this felt. Like, in every season in my life watching football, beating Man United was the game, other than Sunderland, was the game that I'm like, I really want to do that. This was the first time we've ever beaten Man United where it meant nothing. And I don't mean that it meant nothing in like, the 3 points was great and we're in the race for Champions League. But the personal thing between us, it was like, like it didn't make like, cause last time we beat you lot, it was so not competitive at Old Trafford. And you're thinking at least at Old Trafford it should be. And this time, it was just, they scored and it was like a little bit of a moment, but it was so comfortable for so many parts of that game that it didn't. And I feel like Manchester United fans also just weren't we
had the expectation.
Yeah.
We had the expectation. I think playing you guys, and that's the harsh part about where the two clubs are at, right? You've got Newcastle that since the cup final have got better and have improved, you know, from like, even they're still playing with their old players and stuff. You're talking about players that have been.
We barely signed anyone since that cup final.
Like,
that's the mad thing, yeah.
So, and the fact of the matter, even your manager wasn't even there. He wasn't even present. You got Mr.
Yeah, Eddie was there for the cup final, yeah.
No, I'm talking about yesterday. Your guy, like...
Oh, fuck me, sorry.
Yeah, he wasn't even on the touchline. He wasn't even, like... And it just... They could do the job anyway. They were so well drilled that he wasn't... They knew the plan and they got to it. Tonali, cracker. Like, everyone... We were just bested in every area of the game. And it's like... What's scary? I think it was a scary moment for a lot of Man United fans because it's like, well, this is okay. We're giving it excuse now, but then it can't be like this next season. That's what a lot of people became a lot more looking at Amorim because you're like, big man, I know at the end of the day, you are not going to get that many signings. This group of players has to work a bit better. That's what I think a lot of the general consensus, a lot of Man United fans were, he's got to get a better tune out of these boys next season or he'll be in trouble.
Yeah, you mentioned Tonali there, and he is a player that is slowly but surely just becoming a Premier League monster. And that midfield that Newcastle have got, we're a problem for fucking everyone, really, in the Premier League. When they actually, when it all goes all right, and actually, I didn't even think we played that well in the game. Like, we had some good moments. Harvey Barnes scored, but our passing, I thought at times was pretty. It could have been a lot better. Like, I thought we were like a 6 out of 10 version of ourselves, and we won 4-1. And I think for Man United fans, it's the lack of characters and the lack of stand up and be counted type of players. Quality, you know, you can get away with having less ability here and there, as long as you've got players who go, you know, we're going to have a certain minimum expectation of each other here. And with you seen the post-match speech with Bruno Guimaraes after he won the cup, right? That was one of the all-time great post-match speeches because the emotion, the caring of giving a fuck was pouring out of him. Yeah. You see the way Joe Linton plays. And what we're seeing now is there's just none of that in this Manchester United side. Now, actually, I got mates at the match. One of my mates was going like, fuck me, Man United are worse than what we thought, you know, and even what they were last year. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, in the warm-up, Eddie Howe's not there, but those players, those Newcastle players, still warming up, firing up as if it, this is fucking, today means a lot. He goes, the Man United players, they're not even fucking really looking like they're that fired up. And then we all know Bruno Fernandes has this reputation of being petulant, of throwing his arms around in frustration, because he is so much better than the other players. But he goes, it's not just him, they're all doing it. The mood in that Manchester United squad is fucked. It is so fucked. Lads, I'm going to open it up to Josh and Craig. What did you make of the game?
I mean, it was too easy. It was just too easy. Do you know what? The only silver lining I saw it for Man United in that whole game, and this is how you're clutching at straws now, was, I can't remember who Xerxes did it with, that little passage of play where it was like a 1-2. It was with Bruno. Okay, it makes sense. It was quality. Like, I remember the commentator saying that was like PlayStation stuff, because it literally was like the way he like span and did, that was brilliant. But they're so bad. And do you know what? When Man United play, honestly, when I look at the fixtures and I see the fixtures come up on the weekend, I'm just expecting them to lose. Yeah. Like, I can't believe I'm just at this period now with Man United where I'm actually expecting them to lose probably 80 to 90% of games. And same with my club, and we'll get to my club in a bit, but with Man United now, there isn't a real expectation. And I've never felt, even when Man United were in poor periods in the previous years, since Fergie left, I've never felt this low about Manchester United. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is one of the biggest clubs in the world. They're the second biggest club in the world in terms of revenue and fan base after Real Madrid. Well, I don't know, they interchange. But for me to be feeling like Newcastle, they're going to lose. And I know Newcastle are a good team, or anyone they play at this rate. You know what I'm saying? And I think the embarrassing thing for them is that they sacked Ten Hag, and they needed to sack Ten Hag because things were getting really bad there. They brought in Almiron, and they are worse. They're worse.
Can I add to that?
They're much worse.
I just want to add to what you're saying there, Craig, because the stats back up everything you're saying. This season, under Amorim, Manchester United secured, I think, from what I'm reading here, 3 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses, earning 11 points, which was a win rate of 33%, deemed absolutely not good enough. Under Amorim, they've only, in 17 matches, which is 8 matches more than Ten Hag got, he's only got 1 extra win and 2 draws, 11 losses, accumulating 14 points with an approximate win rate of 23%. So 10% worse off under Amorim. And when you compare that with David Moyes, who has had way less games, and he's got how many? He's got 57% win rate. So the argument on Amorim is you can't judge him with these players. They're the old managers' players. It's like, we see managers come in and change the feeling of the club all the time and get a reaction without making loads of signings. We've seen it under Eddie Howe in Newcastle, battle of relegation, it happened. And I'm not saying this is Amorim's fault, but is Amorim making it better? It doesn't look like it.
My biggest glaring thing, just before I let you go in, Josh, is that like when new managers come in as well, or when a manager isn't doing well, or someone isn't feeling them, or for whatever happens, usually the young players ball out for that manager regardless, because they're just happy to get their shot. You're seeing it at Tottenham with like Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall. Like, they're just happy to be there and they're balling out their skin to make sure they take their opportunity and stay within the ranks. But at Man United, it literally only feels like the only player that is performing and giving their all is Bruno Fernandes. And I don't know if that's because the senior players know they're moving on and they haven't got a future at the club, or the young players don't know if they're going to be a part of the plans. I know he's blooded in some new players this season, naturally, but still, it feels like there's literally one player in the whole squad that is actually giving his all for Man United. That's insanity when you look at how many players are in that squad. 25, 26 players?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, how can there only be one?
I think we're talking now, and I don't know whether it's the end of an era or the beginning of one. I'm trying to figure that out at the moment. It's like, if we're being honest, the end of the era makes more sense because you've got to get rid of several overage players that are going to have no sell-on value on high wages. Christian Eriksen, did he play 90 minutes in this
90
game?
minutes, just
that is just insane. The guy's got a pacemaker. Like, the guy, like, he's playing Premier League football. Fair play to him for doing it, but fuck me, we're talking about Man United here. We're talking about Man United in the Premier League. And I just think now, I honestly don't know where Man United go from here to improve the position. And I also think it's incredibly harsh to go on Amorim. And I'll explain why. I honestly do think that you need to give a manager at least a pre-season and at least a chance to make some signings in the transfer window before you go at it. And KG, surely Man United fans aren't actually, like, they're looking at him, but they're not actually calling for his head at this point, are they?
No,
surely.
it'll be crazy, but then it's starting to, I've watched so many managers get fired now, and it feels weird to say that from the Sir Alex Ferguson days, but I'm telling you something, it all feels familiar. This is feeling like there's familiar signs. And again, Newcastle had their way with us. They've done it before. And we had no hope or no desire. Now, what happens is that game on Thursday is the most important game. If we don't get through, the flip from the Man United fans, not myself, because I'm promising to give this manager as much time as I gave Ten Hag. There'll probably be one caveat that'll be different is if we're in like a space, if it's Christmas time and we're like, I don't know, we've lost 5, 6, 7 games, he can't be the manager. You know, we're not going to go on for that long and do that again. We can't do that. And there's a fear from the Man United fan base because we're like, oh, we're going to have to restart this thing again. Do we have to restart this process all over?
Jim Ratcliffe won't allow too much failure, will he, as well? He'll just roll the dice.
Yeah, he can't be. And the only issue that we're having is, I'll talk for myself. I won't talk for every Man United fan. But it's like these signings now, they have to work. We're broke. So if these guys don't work, what are we going to do? There's blood on Ten Hag's hand because we're not even talking about the goalkeeping situation. That goal, Onana is the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League. I think Sanchez could be his mentor because Sanchez is almost...
Don't say that, KG.
He could be his mentor. Sanchez could be his mentor. It is a disgrace, bro.
Matic destroyed him as well, didn't he?
He killed him. He killed his Man United career. He ended his Man United... What actually happened, KG? What actually happened? For anyone that doesn't know about this, what actually happened in the dressing room? Because I heard he had a bust up with like 2 players in the dressing room. That's why he was dropped. Is that true?
I don't know because they were... I haven't heard that yet. I haven't heard the insight, but I was away, so I don't know what's going on. But
so what I've heard, I'll tell you what I've heard, that he's come into the dressing room afterwards. 2 senior players. What I've heard is one of them is Harry Maguire has gone to him and just gone, that's just not acceptable. That is your mistake. Own it. Yeah. And he's basically told him to fuck off. If that's the case, he's done, isn't he? Like, there's no way he can stay after that.
He's a criminal. This is the thing. Like, you can't, there's no way you can look at this, guys. This guy here makes all the mistakes. How dare you come out and say, I saw the post and I thought you shouldn't really be saying that, especially someone like you. You're the worst person to be having a statement like this. But anyway, you go in and say it. Matic comes out, says the truth, but we got to back him as Man United fans because he's one of ours, innit? So you back him. Only for him to the first one, it goes, what is it? It bounces. Oh my, it doesn't even get touched. And you know what? We've seen it before. We've seen it before.
So
that guy, I'm sick of him. Anyway, don't get me started because he's the person, he didn't even play against Newcastle, but the fact that Bayern did something stupid as well. I don't even know if he's coming back.
But you know what? Let's cut some slack in the sense as well that he is human and his wife got robbed recently. I don't know if you lot saw that.
That was last year, bro, but no.
It wasn't last year. It was on the 29th of March. It was on the 29th of March.
The thing I will say about Amorim, when he pulled Onana out of the firing line, I just thought, yeah, probably a sensible move that, you know, you're playing against one of the best strikers in the world. The guy's already been cooked in the last game. You might as well give him, you know, a few days to mentally recharge. If it was because of bust up in the dressing room, that changes things. I think that says a little bit about where the mood is, Manchester United. This Lyon game, it's massive, isn't it, KG?
Can I just say this, just to answer to Craig's thing, and I'm not trying to be a prick or nothing, yeah, but has his wife been robbed like 11 times because he's got like over 11 clangers, bro? This guy waits.
But if it's from what I've seen, it happened on the 29th of March.
Robbed every week.
From what I've seen in the article I read, she got robbed on the 29th of March for a Birkin bag and a Rolex, and then they got charged. That's
Man United fans wanting their money back. That's what that was, right?
No,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. When you I'm not saying. Listen. No, I know. But what I'm saying is, obviously, when you cross that white line as an elite professional, you have to block out whatever's going on in your life. I understand that, right? Some players, the best of the best, they've had to deal with deaths in their family and still,
of course, it's hard.
Push on. That's elite. I get it. Yeah, I get it. But I'm just saying though, if something traumatic like that has happened and you're dealing with that at home, I'm just saying it can have an effect on you. I know when things happen in my life, nothing on that scale, and I have to go in and do a job, it can affect you. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
just saying. I would agree with you if we hadn't seen a lot of this before.
Fair.
Like that's.
But that one the other day was criminal though. Like you said, that one the other day was criminal. That's what got him dropped. Really, actually, we don't know because you're saying stuff in the change room as well. I don't know.
I'm sick of him.
The Lyon game, right? It's a big game. Obviously, Xerxes got injured. Bit of a nightmare before such a big game. If you lose that game, do you think that's when Amorim is going to be really in the firing line and he may even lose his job this season?
No, not this season. Because not this season, but because I think they need to hold the. They need to hold their line, you know. Ratcliffe is people are looking at Ineos thinking, you snakes as well. We're having a good look at them because even Jean-Claude Blanc as well, the guy that they bought in from PSG, apparently his role is changing, or we don't know, but on Company's House, something's happened over there. We bought in your guy, Dan Ashworth. So now we're going to say, you guys are the most indecisive people we've ever seen. All the things that you're doing. So if you sack this man, it now lets us know you cannot be trusted. I'll be even more scared if they sacked him because there's no long-term plan. We're just freestyling. So they need to stick with him regardless of what happens. And then he needs to get a tune out of these boys because we took the derby last week. We were terrible. And I thought to myself, if we go against Newcastle like that, who are playing for something, they're not going to be on the beach. Them guys want to get in Champions League football. We need to match them, and we didn't do that.
And now, a word from our sponsors. If you want to watch live sport from around the world, no matter where you are, including those 3 p.m. kickoffs, Surfshark is the VPN for you. And when you click the link in the description below, you will get 4 months extra for free. Now, using a VPN online is basically like putting your pants on before you go out the door, right? Everything you want to keep private stays private. And Surfshark can change your virtual location in just one click. Whether you're wanting to watch US Netflix or boxing in Vegas or the UFC in Dubai or English football at 3 p.m. on a Saturday, whatever you want, you can view it all with Surfshark. Surfshark can also mask your IP and your traffic is encrypted, so all of your personal info stays private. And you can log into all your devices with just one subscription, which is very handy. So what are you waiting for? Scan the QR code on screen now or click the link in the description below and go to surfshark.com/kickoff and you can get 4 extra months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. But for now, enjoy the video. Luckily, Newcastle did win. It looks like Champions League football's a real possibility now after we were well out of it, earlier in the season. And after winning a cup, it's unbelievable. One team that we're fighting with is Chelsea, who went up at home against Ipswich with a fully fit side and found themselves 2-0 down at half-time. They pulled it back to 2-2, but that was one of their bangers, one of the ones where they would, because they've got a really hard run in at the end of the season that they had to win. Josh, just put us in your head, right? Half-time, I watched the prediction with Joy. You predicted 2 or 3-0. The Perry is uber confident. Quote, they are shit, right? So how did you feel at 2-0 half-time?
I just was looking at Liam Delap warming up and I just thought, God, he looks like a great player. You know what I mean? I just thought he could make a real impact for us. I was a bit jealous that he was coming off for us at half time. Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you. You have qualified for the Champions League already, and I think you will be absolutely fine. I think with us is a very different story, and where we're at now as a fan base is that we are lamenting the failures of Enzo Maresca and his inefficient, match setups, his tactics. They're so slow. He can't win a first half to save his life. In fact, I think we'd probably be better off just playing 45 minutes of football and just cracking on from there, to be fair. It would be more exciting. The state of Chelsea's football is so bad that the inconsistency is the only consistency that we have. And so now when you're going into those games and we foolishly and foolhardily said, Ipswich are absolute shit and we should do them. I don't know why, because we have the worst record imaginable. Did you hear the stat when the last time Chelsea had a double from a promoted team was. Do you know when that was? No. It was in 2001, 2002 against Charlton. That shows you how close we came to breaking that duck and that record. Ipswich are not a good team. I'm sorry to all the Ipswich fans out there. You know, you deserve to go down. No offense to you, but your team deserved to go down. And we deserve to be right there with them because we are, well, no, not relegation, but we deserve to be in the mud. We're crap. There is no possibility now. I'm going to say this now. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the Champions League places. I think there's more likelihood that we finish 8th than we finish 4th.
Wait, can I just say something? There's 6 games to go, to the end of the season. You are currently 6th. You're 3 points, not including obviously Newcastle's game in hand, but right now you are 3 points off 3rd. I'm confused. Like, what? I don't. Okay, what is the meltdown? Like, me and KG are going through. We're going through, and you are 3 points. You are 3 points with 6 games to go off 3rd, and you
let's play a game, Craig.
And also, where did you not finish last season with Pochettino?
We finished high and we're on more points. We're at more points at this point. No, listen, we finished 6th. The place that he is on more points now, Pochettino, at this point of the season than Enzo Maresca.
But that's irrelevant. What if he finishes above where you lot finished last season, which is a possibility? That means
it's a possibility. Well, look, let me put it this way, Craig. You tell me, how many points are we getting out of Fulham? A draw. How many points we get out of Everton?
You could win that.
Probably a draw as well.
Let me jump in, boys. Let me jump in because the point I think that Josh is making, and I think it's a point that's been lost at times on Chelsea this season, is trajectory. They accrued a lot of points early in the season. If you look at them from the end of December, they've had, I think, 7 matches, 2 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses, roughly a 28% win percentage. They've been terrible since the start of the year.
It's their manager's first season. He's come from a championship club, right?
Yeah.
He's come from a championship club. It's his first season, not just at Chelsea, but in the Premier League. All right. He's in contention for a Champions League spot. You're not still in the Conference League, right? You're in the Conference League,
we are,
right?
But who gives a fuck about that?
I'm just saying though, you could win a European trophy. Declan Rice loved that trophy.
We don't.
You could win that trophy. I'm just saying though, you could win that trophy. So
I think it's all about context, mate. I think it's all about context because it's like
this is his first season.
No, but as in the guy comes in and you're saying a guy comes in for the Championship, he comes into the Premier League for the first time. We expect him to get results and build on it. Fair enough, right? But we're talking about Chelsea here, right? We just did that for Man United, but we're talking about Chelsea here, right? We had managers that would come in and be the best managers in the fucking world. We would talk about Thomas Tuchel, Conte, Jose Mourinho.
Chelsea doesn't exist anymore, though.
It's a different era, bro. It's a different era.
It doesn't exist, right?
Go, bro.
It kind of does, though, lads. Just 1 second. 1.5 billion has been spent in the last, few years. Chelsea are now looking at 3 years in a row with no Champions League football. We know financially, in order for Chelsea to be able to keep getting the sponsorships, reinvesting, and how important that is in modern football, that if they don't get Champions League football this season, it's a fucking disaster.
So Brian, we don't have a front of shirt sponsor. We don't have a fucking sponsor. Like we're fucked.
Can you lot like create a company that can sponsor yourselves?
Yeah, we will. We did that with Infinite Athlete. I don't know if you know about that, but we did that with Infinite Athlete. Yeah. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying with the money spent and Champions League being imperative for Chelsea right now. I understand that. I take that on board, right? But the reality is, like I said, they're 3 points off 3rd. So there's 3 Champions League spots this season, right? 3rd, 4th and 5th, right? Pretty much. It's still very much in Chelsea's hands. Like, if we were like 2 games away and they were still bad, then I would understand this conversation right now. But with 6 games to go and 3 points off 3rd, it's still there. Like, I don't see where the meltdown is. When you say in our hands, mate, it quite literally isn't in our hands.
It is. Because we didn't win your games.
Fulham, Everton, what are you talking about? These are, okay, the Liverpool games are a bit tough. Yeah. The Chelsea
lose that.
Are you playing any of the teams above you?
You are not winning that Newcastle.
Newcastle and Forest. We're going to lose against Newcastle. We're probably going to lose against Forest. The Man United game, I don't know. That could go in your hands.
I'm giving you what is factual. It's in your hands, though. If you beat Newcastle, you beat Forest, you take points off your rivals, and it furthers you towards your goal. Yeah. I'm just saying it's possible, even if it looks
that's a huge if.
Chelsea are notoriously shit against the top 6 sides, and whenever they play anyone quality, this year, they've lost. Like, and the things that are in our head about people like Cole Palmer, how long's it? Do you remember how many games it is now without a goal?
I think with Jackson as well, I think it's 12 games in which they haven't scored.
Yeah. So
like, what's going on with Cole Palmer? Can we talk about this? Because you're not going to try and skirt over this. Like, what is going on right now?
Lukewarm Palmer.
What's going on?
Lukewarm Palmer. He's warmed right up. Yeah,
you're not getting onto him enough. You're not getting onto him enough.
I think it's really hard to get onto a player which has had such a good record for us, and even in games looks so good. But his conversion stuff has been so poor recently. He looks weaker than he used to be. Like he looks like he'll get battered off the ball in a way that he wasn't getting previously.
No,
and he's not getting. There's an instinctive thing. No. There's an instinctive thing with Cole Palmer at the moment where he would have just shot and he would have just got something away, and he's not doing that. He's taking a little bit more time on the ball, and it is worrying for us.
Can I say something? I rate Cole Palmer. I think he's incredible. I love watching him play. He's an exciting player. But the way people were talking about him, especially Chelsea fans, right? They were acting like Phil Foden couldn't even stand in the room with this guy. Okay,
he should have won Player of the Year last season.
Can I just say something? When Phil Foden disappears, can I just say something? Because you know I'm Phil Foden FC.
Phil Foden has done fuck all this shit.
When Phil Foden disappears, or he's in a lull, or he's on a barren run, people crucify him. They put him on the cross quickly, and he's achieved a whole lot more than Cole Palmer has. Facts. I'm talking individual accolades. I'm talking team accolades, everything. They kill him, right? Cole Palmer is not getting the same, he's not getting the same energy, and I don't understand it. And he ain't won nothing, and he ain't getting the same energy.
Nine goal contributions this Premier League season from Phil Foden.
No, I'm not denying you love get criticism. I'm saying that Palmer should be getting criticism as well. Because there were people, pundits and fans alike, that were saying, oh, he's the best in the league at one point.
I remember that.
He was the best in the league.
No, you're right.
No, but it's true though. He was the best in the league.
Yeah, but
he should have won Player of the Season.
Nothing. That's why you got to do this. You got to do this week in, week out. That's why Harry Kane's an animal, despite having no trophies. You got to do it all the time.
Is any of this Maresca's fault in your opinion, Josh, in terms of seeing, because good managers get the best out of their players, right?
Yes.
And we've seen Poch get a lot out of Palmer. We've seen in every team, the manager, you will see the good players, they go up a gear for the right manager. And it feels like not only has Palmer gone down a gear, he's gone down a few.
It's very similar to that period of time when Jose was in charge and we were playing that park the bus style football. But the difference is that Jose won matches and won trophies and Enzo isn't. And when you're bringing in a manager that is under the school of Pep Guardiola, the one thing that you expect more than anything is really good football and wins, right? And ultimately, if you're getting neither of those, what is the point? Like, why are we paying everything that we pay to go to the bridge? Like, what does it even mean? So to answer your question directly, there have been so many players that have regressed this year and got worse, and there are very, very few players that have got better. I think Pedro Neto has got better at the end of this, current season. I think he looks really sharp and good.
I think Jadon looks great for you as well. Jadon
bagged in a goal, but he's been brilliant. And he's going to come back to Man United, KG, and he's going to be a wonderful player for you. I can't wait for you to have him back.
They've got so many. Here's the thing: Chelsea's strategy of signing players, they went for a lot of unproven players, a lot of very young and exciting prospects, but that sweet spot of going like mid-20s where you've really seen a lot of them, they kind of didn't do enough of those type of players, in my opinion, and they gambled a lot, and a lot of those gambles haven't paid off. Now, as I said before, 1.5 billion spent. They're now having to do all of this trickery with FFP in order to fucking make it work. But how many more of these things can you do in order to balance the books? They've got to be running out of options, right? And they're already having meetings to discuss, is this allowed? Spending pretty much like 2/3 of the money that Newcastle were bought for on buying their fucking women's team off them. My worry for Chelsea now is if I was looking at form, in the last 10, 15 games, Chelsea would be probably bottom of these teams competing for the Champions League. And actually, I could see a world where we see them back in the fucking Europa Conference next season. And that, for me, is mind-blowing.
The last 10 games, Brian, you'll be pleased to know we're in 10th place. Newcastle are in 9th. So if you want to do the last 10 games, we're pretty similar. But yeah, I mean, teams like Wolves and Everton and Palace above us tells you everything you need to know. The good news for all of you on FFP is that we are looking at selling the training grounds, and so that will be the next one that goes. So just prepare yourself for that, but that will probably be another 300 million into the book. So don't worry about us from a PSR perspective.
Who's buying
We'll be absolutely fine. So don't worry about that.
The training ground back from yourself.
Who's buying it?
Don't worry about it. We'll be buying another £100 million player this summer. It will be absolutely fine, and it will all be above board amongst the Premier League because they've approved it.
We'll move on to Spurs then. Which I've been really keen to get Craig's take on this, because Craig was one of the first people, in my opinion, to spot the rot from Big Ange and to stop believing the nonsense. And now we're so much further on in the journey. I haven't caught up with you in a while. Since I last spoke to you, mate, there's been I just can't hear the fans, mate, and the goal getting ruled out. And now having 4 put past you by Wolves, who haven't had their best season, where's your head at with Big Ange at the moment?
Oh, man, honestly, I'm trying to figure out how I approach this, Brian, because I could completely lose my shit, right? Like I could go full meltdown viral mode right now.
Yeah, it's all right.
No, but do you know what it is though? Do you know what it is? No, but thanks, guys. You're trying to push me off the edge, and I hear it. However,
we're all friends here, Craig. We're all ready to listen.
However, right? I've gone past that period now. I actually did a long time ago. You know when you get past it and you've completely fallen out of love with everything about your club. Like everything. I don't really watch games anymore. I watch every game but Spurs games now. This is where it's got to. And I know some Spurs fans could watch that and be like, oh, you're not a real fan. You got to be there through the hard times. But I watch football to enjoy it. I watch my club to enjoy it. I need to have something to really make me love the team that I support. And right now, I'm looking at the way we're set up. I'm looking at the mentality. I'm looking at the way this manager coaches the players. I'm looking at above him, the way the club's being run. Everything about Tottenham Hotspur is a joke. Like,
haven't you got some good youth players though? Because you said that
I'm not interested. Let's put them to the side because that's for the future. But yeah, Bergvall, Archie Gray, cool. They're good players, right? Ange Postecoglou is the worst manager Tottenham Hotspur has ever had in the history of Tottenham Hotspur. The worst.
Tim Sherwood.
No. Don't disrespect Tim Sherwood. All right? Don't disrespect Tim Sherwood.
Oh my goodness.
Aussie Idealist is the worst. All right? Aussie Idealist is the worst manager I have ever seen at Tottenham Hotspur.
He could get a European trophy though.
He could win what?
You could get a European trophy.
A what?
His name was Idealist.
No, his name, that's the joke. His name is Aussie, as in Aussie Idealist.
All right, sorry.
He's not Aussie Idealist. He is Aussie Idealist. He ain't got no ideas. That's the joke.
I didn't know that.
He's a fucking idiot. He's terrible. Let me tell you something about this guy, yeah? Let me tell you something about this guy. Let me tell you something about this absolute fraud of a manager, right? He is so bad. I hate him more than Rory. I hate him more than any Chelsea fan you could ever imagine. I see all of them cussing him online all the time, right? I hate him. Like, I genuinely hate Ange Postecoglou. Let me start here, right? Obviously, as a person, I don't know him as a person. He could be a lovely human being. This is all football focused, right? The first red flag for me was when he criticized the fans after that Man City game last season. That was the first red. There was an orange flag when we were playing 9 men against Chelsea. Remember when we went down to 9 men and we were putting players on the line? That was a bit of an orange flag. But I thought it was a bit exciting. Fast forward, when we wanted to lose to Man City, right? When the fans wanted that, and he called out the fans for that, that was my first red flag. Hold on, KG. We come to next season now, right? when I saw us play Bournemouth away, I think this was in October, Bournemouth away, and Bournemouth are a good side. But when we played Bournemouth away, that was the turning point for me where I said, this manager's got to go. Because I watched players, and I said this earlier on here on the kickoff, and people thought I was deluded when I said it. I said that was the game that showed me these players were not playing for the manager. And lo and behold, fast forward from October till now, things have got worse and worse and worse. And the fan base, right, the deluded parts of the fan base have tried to blame it on the injuries. They're like, oh, but look, what manager would do with these injuries? Look at all the injury. Every player's back. Every single player is available. And we're even worse than we was when we had injuries. You can't make this shit up. You've got him beefing the fans. How do you score a goal that was disallowed against Chelsea, Salah, right? And then look at the fans, cup your ear, goad them for it to be disallowed. Then go into the press conference. Hold on. Literally. Then go into the press conference and insult said fans' intelligence by saying, oh no, I was trying to G them up. We were getting back in the game. I'm trying to G. So not only are you taking the piss out of us, but you're mocking us by lying to us blatantly as well. Stevie Wonder could see what you was trying to do. That is a joke right there. This guy, how he still has a job sums up Spurs as a football club. All the managers that shouldn't have been sacked over the years, like Jose before a final, or Pochettino when he needed money, Daniel Levy sacks. Then the one clown that should have been sacked time ago, he can't do anything to get sacked. He could walk in Daniel Levy's office, spit on the floor, knock things over, and he'd still have a job. Like, I don't understand what is going on with this club right now. Like, I've lost my mind. I'm genuinely, and do you know what it is? All I'm doing is waiting for Thursday for us to go out, on Thursday, because it's Good Friday the next day. And obviously, I always want Spurs to win. I always want us to go through. But if we do go out and get sacked, that will be a Good Friday for me. Easter would be amazing for me, okay? Because he's not rising from the dead. If we go out of this competition, he's finished, and I cannot wait for him to be finished. And even if he miraculously somehow wins the Europa League, which is never gonna happen, say that minuscule chance it happens, I still want him sacked. I don't want to see him anywhere near the club ever again. After delivering our first trophy, I don't want to see him near the club. He is terrible. And that's that.
Wow. KJ, you had your hand up. Did you want to say something?
No, just making sure we got him to where he is now. So I'm really proud of myself. I think he's
I haven't tweeted about Spurs in 2 months. I put myself on a self-imposed X ban because I said I'm not saying anything until he's sacked. I am not saying anything about Spurs until he's sacked.
Why haven't they sacked him then? Like what? Like no jokes.
No replacement.
Why haven't they sacked him?
No replacement.
Yeah, but you could find someone.
There'll be people they can try and tempt.
How this cup competition goes, isn't he?
Not taking a piss though. He could actually win the Europa though. Frankfurt, if Bodo Glimt play,
do you watch Spurs play? Do you watch Spurs play? Like, do you? What makes you think that Spurs can win this competition? Like, wait. Can I just say something? Let's have it right. Yeah. Even when Spurs were good, they couldn't win a trophy. What makes you think the worst Spurs team in my lifetime can win a trophy now? Why?
Because life is so crazy, and that.
So you think that will be the Spursy thing?
Life is so crazy that this will be the manager to win you something.
We finished 17th, but win the Europa League and get into the Champions League and have a cup.
And how shameless would you be?
Weren't you just saying you think you would win? Wasn't KG just saying Man United were going to win the Europa League?
I'm praying to win this.
Man United have 100 times more chance of winning it than Spurs. They win trophies. You won a trophy last year. Even in your bad periods, you win trophies.
If we had to play Spurs in the final, we'll lose that. And that's the scary thing.
Spurs have lost 17 league games this season. 17.
And we haven't played.
Bro.
Just imagine, let me say that, So just imagine you said that and we haven't beaten them once. They've lost all those games and Man United haven't beaten them once.
You've only lost 14. You've only lost 14 games. Look how bad you are and you're above us. KG, think about it. Look how bad you lot are. You lot are terrible and you're above us. Yeah. That shows how bad Ange Postecoglou is as a manager.
I think Craig answered my question. We got to give him credit. He really nailed that there. I really like the part about the no resurrection thing. I love that.
Yeah, because it's just like, what are we doing at this point? Like, do you know? Can I ask you? Can I ask your opinions? Let me ask your opinions, Josh. Let me come to you, Josh. Genuinely, what do you think of Ange Postecoglou? Like, as someone that's not within the club.
I said, and I don't know if you remember this, but I said I think he would have been sacked by Christmas.
Yeah, I remember.
So I'm actually really,
season, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that he's lasted this long. And what I'm trying to wrap my head around is why they are keeping and why they're persisting with this. When, quite frankly, if it wasn't for Ipswich being so bad and Leicester and Southampton being one of the worst Premier League teams to come out,
You'd be in a relegation battle.
You would be in a relegation battle. Like,
the thing I find interesting about them, boys, how much his character has changed in the last 12 months. So, like, for example, when he first came to the Premier League, he had like a sort of friendly uncle vibe about him. Do you know what I mean? Like, he would take you to the pub for your first pint sort of thing. And very likable, very charming with the press. But the thing about a true test of a person, you don't judge them when things are going well. You judge how they behave when things are going bad. And we've seen many managers before who've been lovely when they're winning and absolute arseholes when they're losing. Yeah. And that's when the real you comes out, when the chips are against you. And I feel like we've seen such a horrible, nasty, just miserable, bad loser coming out in him. And I get it's not, in his mind, it's all happening to him, right? He's doing everything he can. In his mind, he's obviously not trying to lose games. But still, you got to carry yourself with a lot more dignity and class than he is. And to do that to your own fan,
that's just my thing. Why does he keep going against the fans as a manager? That's why I said the first red flag for me was last year, Man City. I understand you want to win every game as a manager. I understand you're saying you're trying to change a mentality. But as much as that frustrated you, that Spurs fans, and not all of them, but a big portion of Spurs fans wanted to lose that game so Arsenal didn't win the league, you don't have to vocalize that. Keep that to yourself, all right?
He's not smart enough, right? He's not
changing it internally in the club. Just carry on your mission. Don't call out the fans, right?
He's too emotional, mate.
But he's 60 years old. Mate, what have you learned on this planet? You've been here for 60 years. You've worked you've been a manager for over 30 years. You should have developed, right, a diplomatic way to be able to not only speak to your players and your employees and everyone around you, but fan bases. And he hasn't learned that. You're 60 years old, my bro.
He really reminds me of Steve Bruce a lot. Steve Bruce was just as old and just as stupid as he is.
By the way, he's getting paid like 6-7 million a year. Like, he's not one of he's one of the higher paid managers in the league. This fraud, right? Sure, and we are 15th, and he's getting paid
worse than Ten Hag. And you lot talking about
He is worse than Ten Hag. Of course he's worse than Ten Hag.
Before.
Mate, you're still in recovery from Ten Hag. I would be careful where you're going with that.
Right? Snap your hand off for Ten Hag, right? I'll take any manager. I would take any manager. Can I just say something? I'll take any manager in the top 3 leagues of English football right now. So go down the Championship, go down League One. I'll take any gaffer over Aussie idealist right now, right? This guy is a joke. He is a joke of a manager. Like, he's so bad. And there's people actually out there defending this guy. Like, I'm like, I actually look at some of these people on X and I'm like, are you all right? Like, are you mentally okay? Like, are you sane individuals?
Are you sure you don't care, bro? Are you sure you don't care?
Okay.
No, but I care not enough to like tweet about it. Like, cause I see people going online like, oh, I'm over this. Like, I don't, bro, if you be like me, you just wouldn't watch most of the games now. I'll be watching Frankfurt on Thursday. I'll be watching it.
Let's see. All right. We'll touch on just a quick one. By the way, I've just searched on Google the form for the last 10 games in the Premier League. Josh said that we were 9th and Chelsea were 10th. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but according to my Google search, Newcastle are 3rd.
The form team. You're a liar, Josh. I thought you did that.
I just wanted to point out Newcastle are better than Josh said they were. Okay.
I will send you the screenshot afterwards. It's Transfermarkt, which is always a very good website.
Josh on Joy's pod saying he fancied Man United. I'm like, you bastard.
I did say that. I'm sorry. I apologise in advance.
We will talk about quickly Mo Salah re-signing with Liverpool, £400,000 a week for the best player this season. But
how long is the contract?
It's a 2-year contract. I think maybe there's an extension for a trigger for a third. I don't know if there's a 3rd year. It hasn't been revealed.
Undisclosed.
Minimum 2 years, $400,000 a week. He's 32. He's had numbers wise the best season, in terms of goals and assists we've ever seen in the Premier League. However, I was talking to Josh earlier this week and he was like, "Oh, I'm not sure. Is this a good move?" Josh, what do you make of it here?
The key thing for me, right, is I'm looking at this from the guise of almost like the Eden Hazard deal, and they're different players. And I think Eden Hazard had more injury issues than Mo Salah does. I mean, he's been, persistently playing, week in, week out. But I think this is a precautionary tale for Liverpool fans. And when I say this to Liverpool fans, they get very angry at me. And I'm trying to do it from a place of love. Like I'm trying to do you a favour here, talking about your economics of your football club. But I think giving him that amount of money and progressing with a player that will eventually get older and older and ultimately will regress in how potent he will be. Yes, he's still incredibly potent now. They had offers on the table from Saudi of, the amount of figures that you can't even count, right? Crazy amount of money that they were in for him for. And that is a way that you can completely rebuild the Liverpool squad, which, there's coming to a point now where they need to replace a Virgil van Dijk eventually. He looks like he's going to get a new contract, but they need to replace him eventually. They'll need to replace the output of Mo Salah and also potentially the other, the rest of the front three in that without Mo Salah, it will be a lot less potent. And so I think they could have sold him at a different point, reinvested that money and overall had a better team than relying on the output of a Mo Salah.
But they've done that though.
I think there's an argument for it.
But they've done that because it's a smart deal. Even if they're giving him, he's earned the money that he's getting this season and they're going to win a league, which is painful to say. But then if it's a 2-year deal, they can still get money for him from Saudi next season. Now, Saudi don't want to buy old players anymore. That thing's done.
Yeah.
But then
I don't see it happening. This nonsense I read online the other day about 500 million rejected by Mo Salah from Saudi, and that is a complete and utter lie. And there is no way in hell any footballer, I know he loves Liverpool, but come on now, is rejecting like that level of money to stay at Liverpool. I think that this is, there was probably money on the table from Saudi. I'm not disputing that. But he's now saying, I'll go to Saudi when I'm 34 and I'll do what Ronaldo did and I'll see the rest of my days out there and I'll make a lot of money. But that will be at the end of the Liverpool deal, much like Trent Alexander-Arnold's waiting until the end. Liverpool ain't making any money out of Mo Salah anymore. That opportunity has just been and gone in this moment. And I think that I understand Josh's point, like, you are going to lose Mo Salah in the next couple of years. You know what I mean? And as great as he is, as old as he is pretty impressive. Going into the age of 34 and 400 grand a week, I get the point that Josh is making. And as much as I'm sure he's going to do a lot of good up until that point, will he be able to maintain the numbers from this season? It's highly unlikely because this season's been a freak. Even amongst Mo Salah's seasons, this isn't a normal season for him. And you do wonder, they may look back at it because some players, they age overnight. If that happens, they'll think, fuck me, we could have had the opportunity of spending 200 million maybe on the squad, and instead we kept him for a couple of years, and now, if we went back in time, would we change our mind? There is a possibility. I don't think it'll happen, but it's a possibility.
As a Pep and Phil Foden fanboy, Craig, if you could go back 2 years and sell Kevin De Bruyne, would you have done it?
Ooh, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. He just couldn't stay fit, man.
And this is the difference between KDB and Salah, in that Salah can stay fit and KDB couldn't.
Yeah.
But imagine Salah has a career similar to that of Kevin De Bruyne now, still has amazing output when he plays, but is eventually decreasing. I think Liverpool fans will look at this period right now and go, probably could have cashed in.
There's no evidence and I agree with you, but my only thing with Mo Salah is there's literally no evidence to suggest that he will tail off. Next season, even. We haven't even seen usually you see a little bit of a drop off from his previous years and you go, okay, he's done the complete opposite. He's got his best numbers ever.
It can happen overnight.
So if he drops off from this, he's still landing on his feet. Like, it's still, even if he has like a 15% decrease in his output, it's still better than most people's numbers in the league. Like, he just broke a record for most goals and assists, combined.
Yeah, do you know what's mad? Though? A lot of that was in the first half of the season. A lot, right? Like, Liverpool were out in front, and a lot of Liverpool fans now were kind of they're obviously loving the fact that they're going to win a Premier League title, but a lot of them are like, we're really limping over the line here. And we wish we'd done it in style a bit more, like spread the form out over the course of the year instead of just, getting this lead and sort of Arsenal just stumbling so much that we didn't really even have to, overperform in the second half of the season. But Mo Salah, in my opinion, had a much stronger first half of the season than the second half of the season. And it is possible that is the beginning of him aging. It actually makes complete logical sense that it's the beginning.
42 million is a lot as well for 2 years. When you do the math 400, I just did it on a calculator. I don't want to act like I'm some amazing mathematician.
Maths genius.
400 grand a week, 52 weeks, 2 years is around 42 million. That is 42 million. So that's what? 21 million a year. What?
I'm just be one of the highest paid Premier League players ever.
Wrong. I would still have done it, because to find quality like Mo Salah, even if you have the 200 million, it's a very difficult thing. And I guess you do think, look, we've only got 2 years left of him. Do we do it now and try and at least find the next big thing? But I probably would have done it myself, so I can't criticize the club too much, but it is possible.
I'm with it. Is there anything to keep Arsenal getting their hands on a Premier League? Like, to give him another 3 years, anything. I do not. Because if Salah leaves and Trent leaves, I'm looking at it and going, Arsenal's next in line. So, like, just get Salah there again, demoralize them, keep him there. Yeah, Van Dijk, sign them all up, man.
Hey, but Craig, listen, if Arsenal go on and win that Champions League, we're finished. Because all that belief, if Arsenal go on and win that Champions League,
I'm done with football. I'm done, man.
Finished. All that belief is going to go into the Premier League and it's going to get dark. I'm telling you right now, we need to be praying seriously against them.
I know, because we saw that with Klopp. When Klopp won the Champions League against us, the next season, they won the league the next year. It opens up the belief. So you're right.
Oh my God.
And we'll never hear the end of it. Like, when other teams win a trophy, they celebrate for a week or two, then it's, all right, let's get back to it. Arsenal, we will hear about this all summer.
They're still celebrating the Invincibles. They're still celebrating the Invincibles.
No, that's champions of Europe, though. Champions of Europe.
We're finished.
Like, for them to call themselves, to have Chelsea, Josh, you lot have been singing that. Champions of Europe, you'll never sing that.
Never sing that.
I don't want it, honestly, Arsenal fans singing that is just the end. It's the end for all of us. You included, Brian. Don't think because you're Newcastle. It will become unbearable.
No, I'm with you guys. Believe me, I think that we're not actually that far away from Arsenal right now, and we might be. We've beaten them. 3 times in a row here. We've knocked them out the cup. Yeah. And I have, but if we could spend money, I don't think we'd be that far away from them. Right. It just depends on what happens there. If they win that Champions League, that is going to change everything for Arsenal. So I'm on your side, boys.
Hopefully they get dumped out and then they slip down the table bit and finish 4th.
No, I think they're going through against Madrid. Even a 3-0 would be an insane lead to blow. Let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen about that. Don't forget to let us know about all of the topics. Hit the like button if you haven't already. We'll catch us on the next one.